We are now joined by SNY Jets analyst Connor Rogers. And Connor, you have your hand on the pulse of all the wheeling and dealing around the NFL. So what was your reaction to the Jets dealing not one, but two former Pro Bowlers?
Honestly, Eamon, not much surprises me with the Jets, but moving on from Sauce Gardner not too long after giving him that massive extension definitely came as a bit of a surprise, at least now, right at the trade deadline. The return, 2 first-round picks and wide receiver Adonai Mitchell, pretty hard to pass that up. With Quinnen Williams, he's somebody that's been here for a long time. He really put in the time. He was a good sport, even during constant change. This is something that if he wanted as well, and the return was really good. This is a player that Dallas prioritized, sending a future first, a future second-round pick as well. The Jets put their foot on the gas of wanting to put their fingerprints on this being their roster. And to do that, you simply have to stockpile picks. This defense, unfortunately, this year hasn't been very good with those players, so it's hard to fault them here for trying to just compile assets and build this thing their way for the future.
All right, now to the other side of the ball. Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson both stay with Gang Green. How vital is it for their top 2 playmakers now to be a part of this rebuild?
Clearly very important. You weren't just going to give Breece Hall away. The Jets were going to stand firm that they needed at least a day 2 selection. And there's a lot of options with him in the offseason as he goes to free agency. The Jets can prevent that. You could use the transition tag on him. That'll cost them basically a 1-year deal, right under $12 million. That wouldn't be expensive. They have all this cap space now. And on the Garrett Wilson side of things, and this also applies to Breece Hall, the Jets could be playing a rookie quarterback next year or even another stopgap quarterback. They need offensive talent around that young player whenever that young player arrives. You can't have them go into a toxic wasteland. We're kind of witnessing that right now with Cam Ward in Tennessee. He doesn't have a lot around him. It's been a really tough rookie season for the #1 overall pick. The Jets know they need a soft landing spot, as soft as possible, for a future rookie quarterback. Garrett Wilson will definitely provide that. It remains to be seen if Breece Hall will be able to provide that if they opt to hold on to him beyond this season.
All right, Connor, let's stick with that quarterback theme because, you know, we love mock drafts and big boards, and it's never too early to start talking picks. The Jets need a franchise quarterback. Some of your brethren feel that the 27 QB class is better than the 26 class. So how did the capital they picked up on Tuesday impact that strategy, and who are some names Jet fans should become familiar with?
Well, they got capital in both drafts, so they can evaluate this quarterback class, and we'll see who's in that, whether it's Dante Moore from Oregon, Fernando Mendoza from Indiana, and Ty Simpson from Alabama, or if they want to just build the roster now and look ahead to the 27 draft that could include a lot of different players like Julian Sayin from Ohio State, maybe even C.J. Carr from Notre Dame, and, of course, Arch Manning whenever he decides to declare. He's been playing a lot better lately, I must say. So, yeah, the Jets will have time to decide what class they really dive into on that. Ultimately, I'm sure there'll be a lot of pressure to take one in 2026. Preaching patience to an owner is not always easy, but we're going to be talking about these guys for a while now.
We are now joined by SNY Jets analyst Willie Colon. And Willie, many expected the Jets to be busy before 4 p.m. on Tuesday, but I'm not sure how many people expected these marquee names to be traded. What was your reaction when you found out it was Gardner and Williams on the move?
I was shocked. I think a lot of reports leading up today, if anybody was going to be traded, it was Breece Hall. That's what I was keeping my ear to the ground for. As reference to Sauce and Quentin, I'm not surprised Sauce, was asked to kind of, they were able to deal him. I thought his play has been spotty and a valid, they honored his contract. They paid him a lot of money going into the season. And he probably felt like he was secure. But I think right now, if you're the New York Jets, it's about the future. You were able to attain 1 win. Sauce was the staple. He was a part of that core that was brought in here to be the difference maker. But I thought they needed to make a move. They were able to do so by acquiring 2 first-round draft picks. I think Quentin is the one that probably stings a little bit for me because I thought he's been essentially the model and the mold of what you want the Jets to be currently and for the future. Hard working, tough, plays, gives you all he got, a leader on and off the field. That's probably a tough one to swallow for me, just because there was some legit deficiencies on the defensive line. He was absolutely the bell cow, the leader of that defensive line. To watch him go is going to be tough.
Now, Jermaine Johnson's name had been mentioned in trade rumors the last few weeks, but he's staying. How critical is he to the rebuilding of not just this defense, but this franchise?
Well, Jermaine's always been solid ever since he put on a Jets uniform. His only bugaboo has been injuries. Obviously, he's coming off a significant one, an Achilles tear. But ever since he's been back in the lineup, man, he's been strong. He adds a level of physicality to that defense. You tell the guys around to respond to him and his leadership. And he's also got a lot of people to believe in for the future. So I know there's a lot of people that really wanted him. I know the Niners called, the Bears called. But I think they realize, man, this is a young guy who has a lot of upside and a lot of talent, and they need somebody they can lean on, especially with his ability to be physical to point attack and control the edges and really be a leader once again for that defense. I'm glad he's remaining a Jet.
All right, Willie, you know, the fans and the media can get excited about draft picks and what they mean for the future, but take us inside the locker room and what the next 10 weeks is going to be like for the players who are still here after seeing talented players such as Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams now walk out the building.
Well, hopefully a lot of these guys understand that this is going to be a whole new ball club next season. And right now, your tape is your walking, breathing resume. So from here on out, you got to put up high quality tape. So when the decisions happen at the end of the season, and they kind of sort through this roster and see who's who and what's what and who they need to keep and who they need to release. Hopefully your name is somebody they take in with high value and they consider you an asset. So from here on out, every guy in the helmet, you will be assessed accordingly. And this is about the trajectory of the Jets and Aaron Glenn and Mooj. It's about these guys saying, hey, man, Aaron Glenn was very honest about what he wanted during the start of the season. He wanted the fan base to be proud of the product. He wanted this team to be physical. He wanted this team to represent the green and white. And he wanted this outfit to travel, to step into any stadiums and be competitive. He doesn't have that right now. So they're going to strip all this down. And their plan is to get it right. I think for the New York Jets right now, especially fans, they've been through this enough, right? We've always been told the new head coach, a new regime, over and over and over and over. I think right now they're just fed up and they just want the product to look like a product they can be proud of and a product that can win and be competitive. And that's what they're aiming for right now. So hopefully they get it done, man. But I think if you're a Jets fan, you know how this goes. They can't do anything until they get a competent quarterback, and hopefully they'll land one this offseason.